And welcome once again. It is our monthly get together with Al Joseph, the director of Main Street in Georgetown. And I tell you what, it's been a busy time, busy summer. The Tams were in concert last week, and I tell you what, that was a good concert.
That was a great concert. Not only did we pack Maritime Park, but there were people lined up on the Harbor Walk. There were people on the boats listening to the concert, and I bet there were 150 people on the other side of the street. They brought lawn chairs from the fountain all the way to Rolling Local. The street was lined with chairs.
Now, are they booked again for next year?
As far as I know, they are.
Okay.
We always try to book them immediately.
Yeah, and you had that one on a Friday night, July 5th. Now, the final two concerts of the season will be on a Saturday night.
They will. We the only reason that we had the Tams on Friday is that we had already booked them last year for that date before we decided to move Music in the Park to Saturday.
Oh yeah, you have to book them a couple of years ahead of time.
Yeah. So that's the reason that one was Friday. But we love the fact that it moved to Saturday. People seem to like that better. It gives them more of an opportunity to come down and spend some more time on Front Street. On a Friday, you get off work at 5 o'clock, you go home, you get the kids, get back by 6 o'clock. It's just a little tough. So doing it on Saturday gives people a lot more flexibility.
Now we've got the group Winya coming up the first Saturday in August.
Yes. August 3rd, I think it is.
And that's a local. I mean, they don't live here now, but they're from here.
They are from here.
Yeah.
These guys are all local, and they've made it pretty big. I think they live in Tennessee now, if I'm not mistaken, and they just went to a huge music festival not long ago, last weekend or weekend before. They played in a huge music festival. They've really got a big following. I'm looking forward to them. This is not a band that I've ever heard before, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that even if they know of Winya, they may not have heard them. So excited to bring them in here. And then Andrew Beam will be our September concert. That's another local guy, and that'll be more country music.
And for those who want to see the Tams again, this isn't Front Street, but on July 20th, the Tams and the Embers are going to be at the Hammock Shops.
Yes, they will.
On Hammock Day. So that's going to be a big concert.
Yeah, that's going to be 1 to 5. The Hammock Day is 10 to 5, and then the music is 1 to 5. Excited about that. I'm going to be there for that.
Well, let's talk about things coming up. We've got the rest of July, and already talking about back to school, August 1st. So, what's coming up for the rest of July that people are going to look forward to?
Well, we've got 2 or 3 things that I've been working on. One just came up yesterday. There is a race, and it's CORA. It's the Charleston Offshore Racing Association. And every couple of years, they do a race from Charleston to Georgetown.
And what kind of boats when you talk about that?
I'm not even sure. Again, This just hit my radar yesterday. I've had a couple of phone calls and a couple of emails with them. We're trying to put together something. It's about 12 boats, about 60 people. They're going to come to Georgetown. They stay overnight. They eat dinner. They do all they can do in Georgetown, and then they take the boats back to Charleston on Sunday.
So they start in Charleston, and this is the finish line?
Yes.
Georgetown, would it be right here by the Harbor Walk?
They're going to be right here at Land's End and at Harbor Walk Marina, right where we're sitting.
So the finish line for the race would be right where people are going to watch the winners coming in?
Yeah. So we're working, again, this just came up yesterday. They reached out to me, so we're trying to put together some things, or looking at putting together some things for them when they're here. You know, their time will be limited, but maybe try to put together a reception for the boaters when they come in on Saturday evening. And I think it's the 23rd and 24th of August, if I remember this correctly.
How do you watch them along the way? I wonder if there can be a helicopter or something.
Unless it's something that's streamed or a drone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Again, this is all new.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out more about it.
It's exciting, and I'm looking forward to, like I said, I've talked to them once or twice, and we've shared a couple of emails. And this is all from about 10 o'clock yesterday morning till now, so it's all new. But just another exciting thing to bring more people to Georgetown.
Now, is this a new event, or is it just new for us?
It is not new. They do this every couple of years, but no one has ever really made a big deal out of it before, and I think it's something that's a big enough deal to where we ought to make folks aware of it and make sure that we welcome them to Georgetown.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. So we'll keep you updated on that as more details come around. And you've got a couple of other events. You said Bethel AME Church is gonna be having a huge event this year.
They are. Every 4 years, Bethel they have their annual AME convention in South Carolina, and every 4 years it comes to Georgetown, and it's split between Bethel AME Church and St. Stephen's. The last time they were here, for whatever reason, it was with St. Stephen's and it got moved to Charleston. Well, this year Bethel is the host, and Dr. Clark at Bethel called me about 3 weeks ago and said she really wants to make sure they come to Georgetown every 4 years and they stay in Georgetown. And we want to showcase Georgetown. So I've been working with Dr. Clark. We put together some packages for the museums on Front Street for them to go in and do some private tours. We're putting together some packages for some tours. Don't know yet. We're looking at maybe an opening reception. But this is 800 to 1,000 people that will be in Georgetown on September 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Wow.
And from all over the state of South Carolina, these are the AME churches from all over the state, and they're going to be right here in Georgetown, middle of September.
There you go. Now you're saying you've got another art event coming up later this year.
Not really an art event, but this is huge. And this actually, I believe, either late last year or early this year is when we started talking about this. It's a group called the Decorative Arts Trust. This is an international arts organization. And they reached out to me, I believe, at the end of last year. They are having a big symposium in Charleston in November. And they want to bring a contingent of about 50 or 60 of their folks to Georgetown just for one day. But they want to bring them from Charleston to Georgetown. So we've been able to put together a tour of the Kaminsky House Museum, a tour of the Jane Scott House, and a tour of Prince George Church. We're going to have an opening reception for them, as well as, not an opening reception, we're going to do a lunch for them when they get here. And then they're able to go to these three historical venues, and then we'll have a closing reception at the George Hotel.
Wow.
So this is really big. As I said, this is an international arts group, and they want to bring their folks to Georgetown to see what we have to offer. So 3 really cool things happening in August, September, and October that have never really been promoted before. And I think all of it is just really terrific to promote the city of Georgetown.
Well, 1 week from today, Georgetown City Council meets again, and the one thing everybody's going to be watching for on the agenda is the second and final reading for the permission for Chick-fil-A to locate on the grounds of the farmers market at Front and Fraser Street. Probably no reason it wouldn't pass. So if it does pass next Thursday night, the 18th, could we see Chick-fil-A there the 19th? Or what are you hearing when they may show up?
Well, I had a meeting with them on Saturday, and they wanted to come down and do a site visit. So we met at the farmers market site. We stayed out there for about an hour, walked around, figured out the location, figured out electrical power, figured out everything we needed to do. There was one little minor addition they wanted added to the lease agreement, which has already been, I've already rewritten it and sent it to be put on the agenda. So when council, hopefully, see no reason why they won't, but when we get the second approval reading on the 18th, right now we're looking at the second week of August for Chick-fil-A to be here 6 days a week from 11 to 2.
Wow. And I know, is it still, a hope that maybe that would lead to a brick and mortar building one day?
Well, it's my hope.
Yeah, it's your hope.
Unfortunately, the franchise owner has no say in it. They can request, they will be sending their
now, did
sales
I
numbers.
hear one time that they could only have, a franchise owner can only have one restaurant? Is that true or not?
No.
Oh, that's not
I
true?
don't think so, not from my understanding.
Okay.
But,
So the Merle's owner could
Yeah.
locate here if the company approves it.
So they'll send in their sales numbers, which we all know are going to be terrific.
Yeah.
And hopefully by the response that we know Georgetown is going to show them, who knows? Maybe Chick-fil-A corporate will say, I think we need to put a store in Georgetown.
Well, that'll be good. So you say the second week in August is what it looks
Tentatively
like.
right now.
If it gets the city council approval on Thursday, the 18th. Well, that's going to be good. Let me ask you about parking. We haven't talked about that in our last couple of visits. What's going on? I know you said you've had some meetings about it and talking about it.
Yeah, really, honestly, Scott, from the first time we talked about it, the first time you broke that story in March, we really haven't had any conversations about it. Nothing official. But I believe in August, at our August City Council workshop, we will have a company come in to do a presentation on parking options for Front Street. Just as I've said so many times before, we just want to make sure that our city council, our elected officials, and all of us are educated. We're all aware of all the options that are out there for us, and that way we can make an educated decision moving forward. So we will have a workshop in August where we'll have a presentation.
So when they come, they're going to make a list of options.
Yes.
One of those could possibly say parking meters, but that does not mean you're going to be sticking parking meters up.
No.
Necessarily.
No, not at all.
Who makes the decision? City council?
Yes.
So once they hear the options, first of all, they got, I guess, have to agree to approve that company. I mean, you have to go through
Well,
the
it will
whole.
go out for bid
Go out for bid.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we're
if it gets to that point.
if it gets to that point. I mean, options would be a parking meter. I mean, up and down Front Street. But I mean, is there? You think that one of the options could be a parking garage? Is that still an option, or?
I don't know that that can be an option right now for two reasons. One is location. Where do we have a space big enough for a parking garage?
Well, I've heard a lot of people say the Scriven Street parking lot across from the courthouse. Just take the parking lot, make it a garage.
It's actually not big enough.
No, it's not big enough.
No, and
Okay.
we looked at Orange Street. Orange Street is not big enough. You need a really large area. If you think about it, you're talking about a structure big enough for cars to go in very, very wide circles for however many stories you have. So right now, location and cost. It is extremely expensive to build a parking garage. So I don't think that'll be one of the options right now. But again, maybe we stick with 2-hour parking on Front Street. That's not being thrown out with the trash. That's still an option. We just want to hear about all of our other options too, and then decide what's best.
But some people say, 2 hours. If I go to one of the restaurants and it takes an hour to get my food and eat, that only gives me by the time I leave there 45 minutes to shop.
Yeah.
Could that be increased maybe to 3 hours?
Absolutely, it's possible. Again, everything is on the table. There have been no decisions made. We just want to hear about all of our options. And yes, some of the options are going to be paid parking. Now, we're not talking parking meters you stick a quarter in. I don't even know if they make those anymore. I would imagine those options would be like kiosks and credit cards and phone apps.
I know. Yeah, I was going to say, last time we went somewhere and had to pay to park, we used our phone. Yeah, you didn't use a card. You didn't stick a card in anything. You just sat in your car, punched it up, and then you got out and
So
did your thing.
that's the whole thing about the workshop in August, is to learn about our options, nothing more.
Well, so that's going to be interesting. Now, and I meant to ask you this before I deviated to parking. You had a GBA meeting, Georgetown Business Association meeting this week, and you did start to talk about the Christmas season.
We did. It's 6 months away. We're actually a little late, honestly, for as much as it takes to plan all of these things. We will be putting together, get a chair for the Christmas committee and putting together the Christmas committee really, really soon. I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks, and be able to sit down and start making those plans. It'll be the same as last year. At this point, we're talking about the Christmas parade, the tree lighting, and the skating rink. All three of those will still happen. I think the Chamber of Commerce will be meeting with them as well. I think they may be doing some things. We're just going to make sure that nobody's overlapping. Keep Georgetown Beautiful is going to be involved this year. Maybe they may be taking over like the decorating on Front Street as far as the stores and the windows decorating contest. So it's a lot to pull together logistically. It's a lot to plan, but we're going to be hopefully starting at least by the 1st of August.
Now, you tell me we'll even see more Christmas lights on Front Street this year than last year. And
Yeah, when the budget was approved at the end of June, the funding that I requested for Christmas light expansion was approved by council. Thank you very much, City Council. We will be issuing that out for bid on July 30th. July 30th, I think, and that's a 30-day bid cycle. And then when that bid is over, we'll award the contract to whoever the winning bid is, and get it scheduled. But we will be going from Queen Street all the way to King Street this year. 87 trees will be lit. The trees in Francis Marion Park will be lit. The Harbor Walk sign in Francis Marion Park will be lit, and 142 light poles from Queen Street to Alex Alford Drive will
plus,
be
I
lit.
don't know what you're talking about includes what's on the Kaminsky House lawn.
That's completely separate.
So that's separate. So you'll have your 100 and some trees and 80 some trees and 100 some poles, and then you'll have the Kaminsky House on top of that.
That's right.
So I tell you what, it's gonna be great. What else you want to talk about? I mean, we're in a busy season, but not a lot of controversy going on right now. So
Thank goodness.
that's a good thing.
That's really good. I like it when things are smooth. There's so many things that are going on. As I said, there's 3 or 4 things, 5 things that I'm kind of working on all at one time that are coming up in August, September, and October. Christmas, here we are. I mean, we're all sweltering to death in a 105-degree heat index, but we got to talk about Christmas. And we got 2 music in the parks left to go. You know, we've got the boat show looming right there on the horizon in just a few short months.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun stuff's going to happen over the latter part of the summer and into fall and winter.
And just a couple of footnotes. We talked about in the past get-togethers about the Get Carried Away. We see a sign on their window now says they're going to be opening this fall on Scriven Street, and it is going to be catering only,
That's what I'm hearing.
like they are in Pawleys Island. Any other restaurants or any other businesses coming that you
Well,
know
we've
of?
got the Sweetgrass, the old Sweetgrass Spa building. We've talked about that a few times. That's going to be the Sea Gypsy, and they are also looking at opening in the fall sometime. Definitely, I'm being told, definitely before the Wooden Boat Show. The old frame shop next to, I believe, Brood Awakening on Front Street, which, as we all know, has been empty for quite a long time, has been sold, and we're seeing some work that's already been started in there. Do not know anything about it or what the plan is for it, but that's yet another Front Street storefront that looks like it will be having something in it in the near future.
And a lot of people have asked about the Shell station at Black River Road and Church Street. That's going to be another gas station.
It is.
Sun House.
Sun House.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. So, you know, taking a gas station that's been there for a long time and kind of renovating it and making it new and shiny and sparkly, which would be a little bit nicer than maybe what was there before. So that's good. And there was one other one. I can't think of it. Can't think of what it is now. No, maybe the Sweetgrass. Oh, the corner of Front and Orange. We've been talking about that for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Our friend Vu Win from California that bought that. It's going to open up the distillery and the cidery and the rooftop bar and the restaurant and bar. They have started to issue some permits. So they've sent some plans in and some engineering to the city now and starting to request some permits. So we hope that we will see some construction starting on that in mid to late summer. When I talked to Vu, he has told me, you know, summer is when we're starting, and it sounds like they're right on track.
And what about the other one at Front and King?
Yeah, the brewery.
Yeah, is that what you're talking about?
No,
you're
this is
talking
Front and
about
Orange.
Okay, what about Front and King? That one.
You know, we keep hearing they're opening soon, and I actually went down there today and peeked in the windows and walked around, and they have made a lot of progress. A lot of progress. It's looking like a pretty close to a finished product.
Yeah. I'll end on a good note. The guys at Root Restaurant, they've started this thing now, and I know your son works there, so you might have some insight on it. But now on Friday nights, they put together this huge meal that feeds several people, and they just drive around and they find somebody to give it to. Do you know how that started? Or I think it's a great thing they're doing.
And you know what? You absolutely described it perfectly. That is exactly what's happening. They are
Yeah.
making food, and they are randomly
Yeah.
finding someone for it. It was just an idea that came up between Jimmy and Brad and my son Chris and some other folks at Root, and they said, you know, this sounds like a good idea. Let's do it.
Well, you can check them out on their Facebook page on Friday nights. They do it live. They live stream it.
And you know, there is one more thing that we forgot about, and this is Mayor Giroux. Mayor Giroux is the one that did this. Tomorrow afternoon, Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock in Francis Marion Park, we're going to have a pep rally for the two Georgetown County teams that are going to the Girls Softball World Series. So at 5 o'clock tomorrow, Francis Marion Park, come on out, show your support. Pep rally for these incredible athletes. We want everyone to come out and show their support.
Yeah, the 15U and 12U headed to Tennessee for their softball World Series.
That's right.
I tell you what, and there's a group from Andrews, not from Diamond, but from Dixie, that's going to be going to their World Series. I mean, Georgetown County's got some sports talent.
Yes, indeed, no doubt about it.
Man, that's cool. Well, Mr. Al, thank you very much. I gone a little over time today, but we had a lot to talk about, and I appreciate you doing this. Any parting words?
Just everybody try to stay a little bit cool, stay hydrated. You know, we'll get through it. It'll cool off sooner or later, and just keep on going. We'll see you next month.